sound of a mountain stream means one thing to me: a chance to catch one of nature's most beautiful and challenging fish.
I think some of these little streams outside the Smokies are more productive than the Smokies streams. So I rarely go down there because of the crowds and everything, you know.
I'm really excited to be here with veteran fly fisherman Gary Berriger as we tackle the pools, eddies, and boulders of Rocky Fork Creek.
You know the next pool will have one.
Every one of these ought to have one.
Gary grew up fishing here on what he calls the perfect mountain stream.
I fished it for 65 years. My dad used to take us fly fishing, and before we fished, we'd catch the crawdads, you know, and play in the creek.
And you're 70 years old and you've been fishing this thing for 65 of those 70. Well, I couldn't ask for a better guide today then, could I?
Well, I can't tell you all the history of the hills and everything here the way some of them can, but I know the water here, that's for sure.
With his knowledge and experience, I'm counting on Gary to guide us to some active honey holes, because I know just how fickle trout can be.
This is an animal whose senses are incredible. Their sight is incredible. They can distinguish color and size and anything that's totally unnatural. And so it kind of gives you a way to connect with your environment by creating that situation where that fish will take your fly.
Twisting and turning through rocks big and small, mountain trout love to hide in small crevices and underneath dark ledges, sometimes at the very edge of the pool. That's why it's important to use a fly you know will do the job.
When I'm selecting dry flies to fish mountain streams, I don't need anything fancy. I want flies that are really bushy, that float high, that I can see. Here's a few I selected from my box: the thunderhead, the parachute caddis, and the orange palmer. They float great and fish love them.
It doesn't take long before Gary lands his first fish.
Poor little fella swallowed it almost. You're not going to come here and catch big fish, but when you catch a fish here, it's like picking a beautiful flower, you know, except you get to release it and put it back in the stream.
Gary believes, and I agree, that the hardest part of this kind of fishing is approaching the stream in such a way that the fish can't see us. Presentation and approach are just as important as picking the right fly.
Casting in a stream like this is completely different from casting on a big river or a lake. And you're looking as much behind you as you are in front of you. And for those who know about it, you're using casts that are close to the water, like roll casts and sidearm casts.
Just as I'm beginning to feel like the trees are closing in and all the fish are starting to laugh at me.
There he is. Beautiful little rainbow. Easy, buddy. That's beautiful.
Soon we're taking turns bringing in fish.
Got him.
All right. Phew. That's the biggest fish of the day, I believe. Excuse me, female rainbow trout. Whoop, there it goes.
To have a fish like that that's born wild right here, we don't get that over in the other parts of the state.
Which is why, for me, fishing in this 10,000-acre wilderness is really cool.
There you go.
Another big one.
That one's ready for the sardine can.
Yeah, it's a fish, right? We don't count shiners, though.
Oh, that's a shiner?
No, it's a rainbow.
Shiner or rainbow, it doesn't matter. I've enjoyed reversing the role and being the student while picking up some tips from a fisherman who's as close to the land and water here as I'll ever find. Rocky Fork Creek flows through land that will one day be a state park. It's taken thousands of years for the water to shape these moss-covered boulders. It's really nice to know it will be preserved forever. Following in the footsteps of our ancestors, Gary and I are mindful of what brought us here in the first place.
Well, I can't think of many things in life that bring me the joy that fly fishing does. The sound of the water, the scenery you're looking at. If you've had a rough week or a bad day, you get out on the trout stream, you forget all about it, and it brings peace to you.
I couldn't agree more. I'm Chris Nishin on the Wild Side.